Hey, credit repair experts. This is Jesse, and today we're going to be discussing the DIY package. We're going to be talking about what comes in it, and we're going to talk about whether it's going to be useful to you or not, and we're also going to be talking about how much it costs. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. First of all, the DIY package is essentially just a kit that you can use for yourself, and you'll be able to remove the debt if you just follow along with the steps. So we call it a DIY kit because it is do it yourself. After we sell it to you, then it's hands off for us, right? You're kind of in this yourself. So that's just kind of one thing to keep in mind moving forward. We do offer consultations, so if you do need help along the way, then you can reach out to us and book a consultation with us, and we will walk with you. We will kind of like go hand in hand with you and kind of guide you towards those next steps and develop a plan of action with you. But the DIY package does a really good job at explaining what the steps are, and if you just follow along, then you should have no problem at all. So in the DIY kit, you have about 4 steps that you need to follow in order to actually get debt removed. So we try to simplify this as much as possible. This is the most effective route that you can take, probably as somebody who is like the normal consumer, and you might not know a whole lot of surrounding credit laws. This is going to be one of the fastest and easiest approaches. So first of all, the kit does come with a whole lot of consumer law and stuff that you can kind of familiarize yourself with. It comes with stuff like the Fair Debt Collect Practices Act, and it also comes with some information around 15 US code, which kind of goes into consumer law, and it comes into some extra stuff like the appropriate bureaus that you can contact in the event that you need to make a complaint that none of these items are being reported accurately. So it's going to have all those resources in it, but for today, I think we're just going to go ahead and talk about the actual things that are inside the package in terms of how it's going to relate to you and what you're going to be doing. So actionable steps. So action number 1 is you're going to get them to validate the debt. You want them to validate the debt because once they do this, they essentially trap themselves in a corner. If they say, no, they can't validate the debt, then they have to remove it from your score. And if they say, yes, they did validate the debt, well, now they've basically admitted that, hey, everything on this is true, it's accurate, we dove into it, we verified everything, and all of it's being reported accurately. Except it's not. So, because we know it's not accurate, we know that we can get this stuff removed. So, we're not going to dive too much into why it's not accurate. I think that would be good for another video, so I'll write that one down. But we know that it's not accurate, so then we move on to the next step. So the next step is we're going to put them on notice. So whenever you put somebody on notice, you're letting them know that they have essentially violated your rights in some way or another. The package is going to explain, it's going to list out all the different ways that they could have violated your rights, and it's going to allow you to be able to write your own thorough letter. It does come with essentially a template, but you're going to need to customize that and kind of make it your own. So whenever you take a look at the DIY package, make sure you read through everything, because the more you know, the better you'll be able to actually leverage all these letters and templates, okay? So once you go ahead and you get your letter written out and you put them on notice, then you give them the opportunity to remedy it, which means they get the opportunity to fix the issue. And they can do that by just removing the item from your credit report, because in the end, that's what we really want. We just want these items off of your credit report so it stops affecting your reputation, and so that you can get better deals. Whenever you go to buy a car, you can get into the new apartment that you want, you can buy a house at lower interest rates, all these things that come along with good credit. Now, so we've validated the debt and we put them on notice. The next step is to go ahead and place a lien on the debts, right? So whenever you put a lien on something, you're basically telling them that you have an interest in whatever this thing is. So if you place a lien on a debt, then in order for anybody to collect that debt, they have to first satisfy your lien. So we'll just use the example of, my, we'll use an example of like my own personal corporation, right? If anybody puts a lien on my social security number, for example, say I'm in arrearages in child support, and the child support agency places a lien on my social security number, then that's going to lock up my social security number, and then they'll be able to actually start taking money out of every single paycheck that I own because a lien was placed against that social security number. And they own that lien, so of course the payment goes to them. Well, you can do the same thing for yourself and for debts that are being held against you. So that would be the first thing you do. You notify them that you are placing a lien on these debts and that you have an interest in them. Okay? So now to recap, we went ahead and validated the debt, then we put them on notice, and then we placed a lien against them. And the final step is going to be file in a small claims court. The reason I say small claims court is because in this court, you don't have to have anybody to represent you. You can go ahead and get everything done and taken care of typically in just one go around, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time or effort to do. And in addition, say you have like 100,000 debt that's pending against you, right? Then whenever you go to a small claims court, you're not going to small claims over the $100,000 that they're trying to collect. You're actually going to small claims court because they have damaged your reputation and you're just seeking a remedy. So the $100,000 debt, it doesn't count in the small claims court. It essentially, the court is going to be going over the matter of your reputation, right? So it doesn't need to be filed in federal court. You can file in a small claims court, and then you can go ahead and you can sue them for the amount of up to $10,000. Because in small claims court, you can't sue for any more than $10,000. Now, typically, what will happen if you do go ahead and file in a small claims court? Most companies will actually reach out to you because they know that they're in the wrong and they'll just try to settle with you. So, they'll typically give you a call and they say, hey, what do we need to do in order to avoid going to a small claims court? This is good because it saves you from having to go in front of a magistrate, which is, no matter how many times you do it, very uncomfortable, right? And in addition to that, it allows you to get immediate remedy. You don't have to argue your case. You don't have to point out a whole bunch of facts. You don't have to write any sworn affidavits. It saves you a lot of work, and it'll probably put a little bit of money in your pocket. So that is pretty much everything about the DIY kit. So just to cover it one last time, essentially all you're doing is you're validating the debt, you're putting them on notice, you're placing a lien against the debts, and then you're going to go ahead and file in a small claims court if it gets that far. So those are your 4 steps. Keep in mind this can take several months to be able to do yourself, and you need to be okay with the fact that you might have to stand in front of a magistrate and explain to them how these people have violated your rights. And if you're able to do that coherently, then your chances of succeeding in the small claims court are very, very high. If you're not comfortable with doing it yourself, you can always hire an attorney. They'll take over your paperwork. And as long as you follow the rules that we set out in the DIY package, any attorney is going to take that case because it's a no-brainer, right? So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to pricing. So by now, you're probably wondering, okay, all that sounds great, but what do I got to do in order to, get this kit? So the kit itself is actually just a one-time payment of $297, and I can say that with confidence because we're we're not going to change the prices, right? In spite of the fact that, you know, there's massive inflation going on with the dollar bill right now, and that, you know, we've got prices going up everywhere for loans and such. The interest rates for loans are starting to go up. You know, they're catching up with the market. We had thought about increasing the price recently, but we decided, you know, ultimately this is really just to help people, and we're just hoping that the value that you get out of this helps you guys out. Secondly, we're going to be introducing a really awesome partnership. So I'm going to go ahead and announce that in this video. If any of you are business owners or you're thinking of starting your own business, we've actually got a joint venture partnership opportunity out there for a lot of you new business owners. This joint venture partnership is going to allow you to be able to start to get into real estate and some passive income investments. The real estate will earn you, it'll earn you upfront money if you want that, but on the back end, you can say, actually, no, I want to own equity in this property instead, and then you'll get monthly paychecks based off of the amount that you own of that specific property that you find deals in. So it's a really exciting opportunity. Each one of those deals is going to net you around at least $10,000, and you know, we're expecting people to be able to find several of them every single month to stay part of the club. So if that's something that interests you, you kind of always wanted to get into real estate, you've wanted to earn yourself a passive income or anything like that, then go ahead and feel free to reach out to us about that information. Our Facebook page is going to be down below, as well as a number that you can contact to reach us. So if you're excited about the investment opportunities, then you'll go ahead and just click the button associated to investments. If you want us to do the credit repair for you, you know that you want to get your credit fixed, but you don't want to go through the hassle of doing the DIY kit, kind of doing everything yourself, or you know, you are unsettled by the fact that you might have to go to court or you don't like confrontation, then go ahead and just give us a call. Reach out to us and we'll be happy to do the entire process for you. Okay? Anyways, that does it for today's video. I hope that this information is very useful to you, and good luck on your credit repair journeys.